So this year we're going to cover a sichos that even though this issue will look like a Rashi Sicha and it is about Rashi, but more really a view from Soid and Pshat and Remez and Drush, Pshat, Remez, Drush, Soid, and the story of the Parsha. Like today we're going to talk about the story of the Keshes, the rainbow. So a child grows up in the city of worms. The city of worms, a beautiful city, medieval city, cobblestone, little streets. And the Nazis, that they destroyed Rashi Shur, but after the war they rebuilt it. They even built it with the legend that there is a legend that Rashi's mother was walking in the narrow streets of Worms and came a rider on a horse, and he was going to trample her, and she was big. Where could she go? It was a narrow, so she put her stomach towards the wall, and the wall caved in, just for good for her stomach to go inside. They even rebuilt it complete with that, thing in the wall for Rashi's mother's stomach. Little problem with the story is that Rashi's mother and Rashi lived in Troyes, France, and he was born in Troyes, France, and not in Worms of Germany. Little problem, but
she moved after Germany.
Could be.
It's a famous story.
It's a famous story.
One second. They rebuild it in somewhere else.
No, in Worms, in the exact same. They took the same bricks.
Why are you saying that she was from
Because according to history, Rashi was born in Troyes, in France, not in Worms. When he was a young Talmid Chacham, the city of Worms asked him to come there as the Rosh Av Bezdin, as the Rov, and the Rosh Yeshiva.
The thing is not really where it's supposed to be.
Right. It could be Rashi's mother, when he was young, was for a few months in Worms. But I'm just telling you a funny thing about the story. The story is about Rashi's mother, and the Germans now who rebuilt the shul made in that narrow street. They made a place in the wall where the wall goes in. Yeah, where the bricks go in. Yeah, and this is the place where Rashi's mother was able to put in her stomach to save her from being trampled. What does that?
It's like what you say, that they take the whole house and they put it in the place.
They took the cavity from Troyes, they brought it here. the whole of the bagel, they brought it from the bagel shop to so if a child goes out of the cheder in Worms, he just learned the Chumash and Rashi with Rashi, he sees a rainbow, makes a bracha. Then he should ask a question. Wait a minute. Half of Worms are Jewish. That's historical. It was a city that was almost Jewish, very Jewish. And this is in Germany. In Germany, on the Rhine River. Beautiful city. It was all Jewish. And who lived there? And Rashi's grandchildren, all the Balei Toisves, his sons-in-laws who were Balei Toisves. Yeah? They all were sitting and learning Torah Yoimam V'Layla, right? I don't know if he was there, but for sure there were big Talmidei Chachamim and Tzaddikim.
I'm sorry, but how big is Germany? Germany is the size of Eretz Yisrael.
No, it's a big country.
It's a very small country.
It's the size of what Eretz Yisrael will be in Metz Hashem when Eretz Yisrael is. Look at the map.
I look at the map. The size of the Germany is compared to I don't know. It's very small. It's not a big country.
The way it is.
I looked at our graph.
It's as big as any other major European country.
Sure.
Anyway, back to our little worms. The kid asks a simple question. Rashi says, then when will there be a rainbow? When the Eibush is going to have a machshava to destroy the world. Why would the Eibush want to destroy the world? This bad German goyim, but he knows already. Rashi said, "Beis reishes, b'shvil ha'Torah shnikra reishes, or b'shvil Yisrael shnikra reishes." So who cares about the goyim? But the Yidden are all big tzaddikim and chasidim, are learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. Why do I see a rainbow? A rainbow is if the world would be so evil that the Eibishter might want to destroy it. Ki hishchis kol bosses darkei al haaretz. It doesn't look to me that the world is in that situation. And the child will definitely ask the question when he comes back to Cheder next day, especially if in the between there was another rainbow. What's Rashi going to answer? And Rashi doesn't write the answer. So obviously Rashi thinks that the answer is obvious. So what's the answer? What's taka the answer? Okay. So let's learn the Chumash and the Rashi and the Medrash and to see the Pshat, the Remez, Drush Soid, and the beautiful light that the Rebbe sheds on the story of the rainbow.
This is a connection to this week parsha of Noach.
Yep, this is the whole story. After Noach went out of the Teva, the Eibishter promised him that he's going to make a bris with a rainbow.
Oh, so the rainbow trying to...
Yeah. Let's learn first the Chumash. We'll go back to the Medrash later. We'll go to the bottom of the page. V'ani hini mekim es bris itchem, v'zerachem acharechem. Veis kol nefesh achaya she'itchem ba'oifa behema v'chol chayes ha'oretz itchem mekol yoytze ateva l'chol chayes ha'oretz. V'akemois es bris itchem alay koretz kol bosar oid mimei ha'mabav lo yiye oid mabav l'shachas ha'oretz. V'yemer l'kim zoyseis ha'bris asher noisem beini v'nechem v'vein kol nefesh chaya she'itchem l'doyres oilam. I'm sorry, I'm going quick because the time is short. Es kashti nosati ba'ona v'hoisa la'ois. Before you turn the page, Rashi says, Ani hineni maskim ani yimach shoyanoyach doyeg la'asek b'pirya v'riba. He wasn't interested in having children. Well, we have kids and they're going to get killed later. What's the bit? You have kids, you cry at night, you have to change their pampers, then you raise them. For what? Then they're going to get killed. They said, I'm not interested in having any children, Noach said. Achi, huh?
He has the mitzvah.
He didn't. He was.
The future.
He didn't. Mitzvah hin, mitzvah her. He wasn't impressed. Ad shivtiche HaKadosh Baruch Hu shaloi l'shachas ha'olam oid v'chein osa b'acharon ha'omer lo hineni maskem l'asas kiyum v'chayzik b'ris l'haftachosi v'etan loch ois.
You know, it's like someone builds a house, but the owner of the house doesn't like what he sees. He wants to tear it down and build it again. You know what the contractors are going to tell him? Go find another guy.
Exactly. Exactly. And then it said, find someone else that's going to make children. I'm not interested in raising them. You're going to kill them anyway. So the Eibishter said, I'm not going to kill them. And that's the pshat. Ani hineni make him. What's ani hineni? What's going on? It's like a conversation. Next Rashi. Chayes haaretz itchem hem alchem hem abrius. Kol yoytze ateva lo v'shkotzim ramosam. Chol chayes haaretz lo v'mazikim v'sheinem. V'chlal achayes sher itchem shem lochem abrius. So I'm going quick because the time is short. V'kemois esa kiyum lebrisi ma'o kiyum esa keshes k'meshu v'sayim v'olam. L'doyres olam. This is the main Rashi that we want to focus on today. The Rashi and the Medrash. L'doyres olam. Nichtav choseh. L'doyres really in Hebrew should be with a vav. It's like a strange word. Okay, so you put a cholam, you know, L'doyres means really a vav.
There's usually for someone to tell you there's something in there.
Oh, so what is it telling me? What's the secret here? Some generations will not have an ois. They don't need it. They're big tzaddikim. Like the generation of Chizkiyo, Melech, Yehuda, v'doyro shel Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai.
That's interesting. That's the case a lot of the Akiva had suffering all the time.
He's not the generation of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai.
No, I thought they're all coming from the same.
Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai is
Rabbi Akiva.
No, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai is Rabbi Akiva is this generation of Shimon bar Yochai is like right after the Churban. Rabbi Akiva is like 70 years after the Churban. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai is and Rabbi Akiva are not the same generation.
Could be very close.
They're close, but they're not the same. Have you? I say the Kabbalah Satoira from the 40. They're not the same generation, or at least not considered the same generation. Next pasuk, v'hoya banani onan al oretz v'nidas akeshes b'onan. That there, David is going to make. There'll be clouds, and in the clouds you will see a keshes. So Rashi explains, Banani Onak Shetala Machshava Lafonai, Lohavi Choshech Vavodan Loilam. Banani Onan al Oretz doesn't mean to explain how the kesha is going to be. Banani Ona means when I'm going to think about destroying the world, I'm going to show a keshes. Zacharti is brisi, and through the keshes, I'm going to remember my bris. Shabeni v'nechem kol nefesh chaya v'chol bosa v'liya hoid mabalo hamayim l'mabalo shachas kol bosa v'hoya keshes v'onan resi liskar bris oilam bein elakim v'bein kol nefesh chaya v'chol bosa asher al ha'oretz v'yemer elakim al noach zoitz ois ha-bris asher kimoisi bein v'bein kol bosa asher al ha'oretz. Rashi bein elakim v'bein kol nefesh chaya v'bein midas adin shel l'mayla bein echem asher l'lichta bein v'bein kol nefesh chaya Azel Midrash Kshedov Midas Adin Lekatrig Alechem Lechayev Eschem Nirois Oiz Veniska. Zois is a bris hareo akeshes. He showed him the keshes. Amarle hareo Oisha Marti. This is the color. This is what it looks like. Okay. Let's look at the Medrash. The Medrash brings similar pshat about Ledoiros, and he says it differently. There's a lot of kashas in the Sarashim Pshuta Shemikre, and we're glossing over it. In the Sicha, the Rebbe discusses it more length. We want to focus this year on the Pshat Remes Drush Soid and not so much on the Rashi. Let's look at the Medrash. This Medrash Rabbah, Sefer Bereshis, Parsha Lamed Hey. When the Simchas Torah, they had here a kuntris. The original, the Rebbe had said once a Sicha about the whole thing of Chassidus, and then he was Magia the Sicha as an appendix, as a forward, for the first volume of the encyclopedia on Chassidus, which is called Sefer Erech. The Rebbe said that the name of the kuntas should be Inyona Shel Toras HaChassidus. Inyona Shel Toras HaChassidus. So B'meila, I added one of the Rosh Tevis for the year. Teishnas Eis Chayruseinu, Teishnas Inyona Chassidus, and Teishnas Ein Chai.
Where's this? Oh, you didn't do that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that they never gave the name. In Yonei Chassidus. Rabbi Yochanan wrote Kuntres Mahusa Chassidus. They never erased it. Kuntres in Yona Mahus.
Yeah, that's the real.
That you would think is the right. They never erased it, and they never wrote Kuntres in Yona Shel Toras HaChassidus. I don't know what the
difference.
Yeah.
In Yona, it means that is the basics of the reason for it, the Indian. That's the essence of the practice.
Mahus sounds to me like a more catchy.
It's like, but in Mahut it's like the result.
Okay. So for this year it goes very good. This year's Ayin Ches, Tosh Tehesh Nas in Yonei Chassidus. That's why we're here tonight.
So everything should be on
so every Sunday night we get into the mood of the Chassidus Parsha. Parshiyos, Bereshis, Parsha Lamed Hey Medrash Rabbah. Vayomer Alein. Zoi sois abrisa she'en noisem beinechem begoimer ladoides oilo. Omer Rabbi Yehuda. Ladoides ksiv. It's missing the vav. Prat l'shnei doidos. Ladoides shel Chizkiyo, ladoides shel Anshe Knesset Gdola.
That's the same thing. Rashi said no.
Very different.
Very different.
Yeah, the Mefarshim point out it's different. We'll talk about the differences when we get to the end, all the differences. But you see right away, you shmek right away, it's very different. Reb Chizkiya moitzi doirin shel Anshe Knesset Gdola, maybe doirin shel Reb Shimon Mechai. Reb Chizkiya says it's taka 2 generations, but it's not Chizkiyo and Anshe Knesset Gdola, it's Chizkiyo and Reb Shimon Mechai.
Like Rashi.
Yeah. Elio, Hanov, Yizocher Latoy, Reb Shua ben Levi, Hava Yasmin, Tonin, Mechada. They were sitting and learning together. Moten Shmua min Reb Shimon Mechai. They came to a Shmua that was said in the name of Reb Shimon Mechai. Amri, they said, Hamar de Shmaita. Here is the Balabos of the Shmua. In other words, they were sitting in Gan Eden. So they said, oh, Reb Shimon Mechai is here, just right here in the other room. Neya, let's go into his room. Then the Shaila, let's ask him about the Pshat and his saying. All Elio Zachla Toiv Legabei. Elio never went in. Amr loy manimach. So Shimon Mechai said, "Who's with you?" I say, "I hear behind the door some." It's a Grishet. Who's there with you? Amr loy Godel Adorim Shimon ben Yeshua ben Levi. Shuma Levi, he's the Gadol Ador. Omar Lei. So Rabbi Shimon Yochai said the Nidasa Keshes B'Yoma was ever a rainbow seen in the world in his days. Omar Lei, hey, yes. Omar Im. Forget about it. Leisu Kedai Lamech Misaver Apoi. He is not Kedai to see my face. That this is what Hashem Echai once said. Bika, bika, imoli din is of the Samala. I'm a fortune like trying to understand what's going on over here. Like, what's the connection? What's going on over here in the Medrash? Like, a story we had, the Gemara says, it was a story that Hashem Echai said, took his Talmidim, he said, you need money. He said, bika, bika, ismala din rezov. Also the bin rezov. He said, take. No one took. They didn't want to take away from the Olam Haba. But what's that story have to do with this whole story with the Keshes? Like, what's... And then the Hemshech, what's the Medrash continues? If Avram Avinu agrees, he's going to cover all generations from him until me. I will cover all generations until Mashiach comes. V'loi, if that's not good enough, you'd start for Chiyah Shlani Imi, and Chiyah Shlani will help me out. V'nam mekarvim in Avram vad Malka Mashiach. And we could cover from Avram until Malka Mashiach. Chizke b'shem Rebiyim, Makacha b'shem Mechai. Ein el meyachalam al-poch of tzaddikim kavram Avinu. The world has to have 30 tzaddikim. I know you, everyone wants to say, wait, what's a lamad of tzaddikim? There's a similar Gemara to this in Sukkah Daf Mem Hey Amud Beis, and the Gemara says almost everything the same, but everything has a drop off. Over there, Shimon Chai says Yochalim lifted as kol olam kulam min adin. Over there it says the world needs to have 36 tzaddikim, and also over there the rest of the Medrash is said also a little differently, and the Alter Rebbe quotes the Gemara Sukkah and Tanya. But anyway, the Medrash there's nishkestira, there's different story in the Medrash. Maybe it's a machloik, is what he said. 30 tzaddikim. Itloseninu. If there's 30 tzaddikim, anobri. 3, me and my son are one of them. Anobri trei minhoi. Yeah. Yeah. Meseninu, anobri minhoi. Soreninu, anobri minhoi. Chamishininu, anobri minhoi. Treininu, anobri minhoi. If it's 30, me and my son are one of them. 20, me and my son are one of them. 10, me and my son one of them. 5, me and my son one of them. If it's 2, it's me and my son. Bimchadu, I know. If it's 1, it's me.
Better be gone.
Like in the Soitas also.
And the Soitas.
Right. Okay, this is a good kasha, but we have to leave that aside. Unfortunately, say in the Medrash that the tzaddik is not shaykh to gaiva. A person like Shimon is not shaykh to gaiva. But the world has to know. You think is a rebbe, he could give a good eitzah, which doctor could go to, and what to do, and which it's a kedai to realist to invest in this investment or that. You have Mr. Cooperstein lives at the end of this block, so he says he used to go to many rebbes, and every rebbe used to say, "Give that brucha, give that brucha." He said, "Lubavitcher Rebbe." He said he came once. He asked. He had a big schus. He said, "The Rebbe said, das is nicht kein Geschäft for dir." That's it.
That's the story.
There was no negotiating. The Rebbe told him, "This business is not for you." Then he came to the Rebbe. He said to the Rebbe, he wants to buy this house, and he's 17, and the eye. The Rebbe says, "He said, but my mother-in-law, there was a Holocaust survivor, and she says if we move from Bar Park, she's committing suicide. She's jumping out of the window." So the Rebbe smiled and said, "Let her jump." So
he has some sense of humor once in a while.
Yeah, they said the Rebbe was straight. He said all the Rebbes,
Listen, people came to him and he didn't get answers from the Rebbe a lot of times. The Rebbe on purpose didn't answer too.
Right, exactly. Sometimes the Rebbe didn't answer. But we think, what's a tzaddik? So Shimon Yochai wants us to know that don't think that the tzaddik is a good just a eitzah giver. You should know that a tzaddik is the yesod of the whole world.
So then by him saying that he should not see his face, he was trying to not intimidate him, just tell him that seeing my face can burn you off.
It's a big thing, exactly. It's a very
I'm
big
not
thing.
a simple person
Not
to
as
deal
I.
with.
Exactly.
He said, it says in the Midrash that every time they picked up their eyes outside, they burned people.
Right, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
that's the obvious.
Exactly. He's saying, don't just come here at the 7-7, don't come to the oil just like this. Make achonas. Okay.
It's interesting that I never had this thing.
Okay.
The Chassidim had it traditionally. And
From other
names. I'm a Chassidim, you can't go like this to the Rebbe. But the Rebbe never, never
cared.
Like, he
Never cared.
if you're a chassid, he will schmeckle you down.
Right,
If
but
you're
he'll
not a chassid,
Smart to you.
Smart to you. That's it. Yeah, that's one of my
Observations.
Yeah.
Hazay, the staka. Okay. So the Meforshim say, like you said, you see Rashi and the Medrash are not saying the same thing.
Yeah.
First thing is, they say very simple. The Rash and the Medrash is different. The Medrash, look in the second line, L'doiros. The Medrash says it should say L'doiros with two vavs. Because it's missing two vavs, so it's telling you there's two generations where there won't be a kashis. That's why there's a machlokes, which two? I mean, what's cost this? If Anshknes Agdoila were big tzaddikim, and if Shem Bechai Anchis, you say 3 generations. I mean, it's that expensive to say 3 generations. The Fagin's nicht. I mean, what do you care? It'll be 3 generations. No, because it's missing 2 vavs, not 3 vavs. So it has to be 2 generations. The question is which 2? And Rashi didn't say that.
There's no question about Chizkiah. Why not?
Why Chizkiah not? We'll talk about it soon. It's a good case because once we understand the Hezbollah, you'll understand.
Okay.
In Rashi, however, Rashi says, Rashi doesn't say nicht of choser. He didn't say it's missing 1 vav, 2 vavs, 3 vavs, 8 vavs, 6 vavs. Nicht of choser. It's a word which is choser. Sheyesh doides shalahutzer chalois. There are generations. How many generations? 2, 10, 20.
It's a lot. It's not
Could be a lot of doides. Kamoy, he gives an example. Kamoy doides shechizkiyo. It's a dogma, Noach. It's a dogma. It's a dogma. Why does he have to give a dogma? If a tzaddik, you don't know what a tzaddik is. Noach is tzaddik. What's a tzaddik? Kid knows what a tzaddik is. Tzaddik is what David says to do. He doesn't. Or Rosh, David says to do. He doesn't do. We'll soon understand why Rashi has to give a dogma. But the Rebbe explains that it's not just a shaila about what's the drash. Again, according to Meforshim say, according to the Medrash, because it's missing 2 vavs, so 2 generations. 2 generations won't have a rainbow. And Rashi says no. The word is a choser, so there are many generations that won't. I'm just giving you an example of 2 generations. But the Rebbe explains what's the tifkat of the machlokes. Why is it that some generations don't have a rainbow? There could be 2 pshat. One is because they are big tzaddikim, the people and the generation are big tzaddikim. A second pshat could be they are not big tzaddikim. They're no tzaddikim at all. Maybe they're big rishoyim. But there is one huge tzaddik which is malamet sichos on the whole generation. Like the story that the Rebbe, they used to have, the Rebbe never spoke at the Rosh Hashanah. It's befrat the Rosh Hashanah by night. By the Suda, the Rebbe never said 1 word. Bechlal, but the Rebbeim, Nesiya Chabad, Rosh Hashanah night, there was no talking. There was no talking. Was it
Don't we say Tehillim that night? I mean,
say Tehillim, but you eat a meal, right?
right, yeah, you make a meal, but you...
No talking.
No one knows about that.
But at the meal, the Rebbe used to make like with his head. He used to make a very to Reb Shmuel Levitin. And Reb Shmuel Levitin used to tell a story from Reb Levi Yitzchak Bedichev to be Malamet Sichos and Klal Yisrael.
Oh, is it by the Rebbe?
Yeah, but the Rebbe's
Just
table.
by the Rebbe's table.
The Rebbe didn't speak. The Rebbe used to go like this, you know, make a remez. He knew that, he used to tell the story of Reb Levi Yitzchak Bedichev.
So you should have some kind of...
A limit Sichos and Klal Yisrael.
What's that today?
Oh, so Shgochel Yoina, wow. So the Reb Levi Yitzchak Bedichev had many incredible stories. Wow, what a Shgochel brought this. So what happened? That he used to go out of his way to find the limit sichos for Yidden. He said, go out of his way. There's a story that Reb Levi Yitzchak, because once he said, he saw in Himmel that the gates are closed. And gedavent. He's knocking on the heaven doors and it's locked. So he went out in Bedichev to take a stroll to see what he could do. he was drawn to a certain door. He knocked on the door. The lady answered. She started to cry. Said, Rebbe, you came to give me Musar? He said, no, but why would you think I'm coming to tell you Musar? It's a story. She was a Yesoima. Her parents never passed away when she was young. They lived out in the country and they had a kretschma. Her father and mother passed away next to each other, a short time next to each other. She was never a Yesoima. And she couldn't pay the rent, so she went to the Poritz. And the Poritz said, what's the problem? You don't have to pay anything. Actually, you could become the queen, you could become the balabasta of the whole town. Just marry me. And he stood up, and she had like B'nai Yisrael Aksheris in those days, and even today, when they're in the mood of it, is that they put their hair in a tzepke. You know what a tzepke is?
Yeah.
Come on, Borough Park. What's that tzepke? No, you didn't grow up in Borough Park? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'll explain it, but I'll tell you what a tzepke is. A tzepke is a braid. You take the whole hair and you braid it up. So it was a derech of tznius. The B'nai Yisrael used to make a tzepke. So he went over, and she had a beautiful long tzepke of hair, and he picked it up and gave it a kiss. So she ran back to her home, and she packed up quickly a few things, and she disappeared.
Didn't he take a piece? Didn't he?
No. The story was, she was upset that he touched it, and she cut off.
Right.
She cut the whole thing off, and she what she can do in the big city. She didn't know what to do. She knew how to live in the outback. She knew how to take care of the cow, milk the cow, and take care of vegetable garden. What she could do. So Nebuch, she ended up being a maid in a Jewish family's home, and then she found a shidduch and she got married. And she said that her husband just passed away. And it must be because of her terrible sins that she allowed that the goy should touch her tzepke.
Wow.
So the Levi Yitzchak said, and do you have the tzepke? So she said, well, I'll look. She went and she looked, and she found the tzepke. She gave it to the Levi Yitzchak. The Levi said, thank you very much. Put it in his pocket. He said, oh, very good. Came Rosh Hashanah, before Tkiyas. All of a sudden, Levi Yitzchak pulls out the tzepke and he starts going like this. He's waving in Allah Zayt. People are looking, what kind of Meshigan Azach is this? He's waving a thing here, like a shaitel. He's going in, he's waving it like a lulav and asrik. Then he puts it back in his pocket and he makes the broch and he blows the kiyas and he's shining, his face is radiant. And by the Suda, he tells the students, he says, I got the doors open, I broke it open, smashed them open. He said, I showed the tzepke in Himmel. You see what the loyal Jews are to the Eibishter? She's broken hearted just because the goy touched her tzepke. These are the Eden. How could the gates be?
But she didn't allow him to touch it. That's what allowed.
Right, but she still
She
felt.
didn't really allow it.
But
What did she do?
She was
she
afraid
felt
because of the
she didn't know. She thought she sinned. So she felt defiled. So the Levi Yitzchak said, when I waved that thing, it broke all the gates open. This Rabbi Levi Yitzchak was derech to Malamet Zchus. Rabbi Shmuel Levitin used to tell a story of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Baditchev. Every year Rosh Hashanah night, the Rebbe used to. One year he started the story, and he said a story of Rabbi Leivik. The Rebbe turned, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak. So Chassidim later explained why did the Rebbe? No, not because of that. Because at several occasions the Rebbe explained that certain tzaddikim, their whole thing was to be melamed zchus and Klal Yisrael. And these tzaddikim, when you tell a story in their name, you have to say their name, because that's part of the limud zchus. So Chassidim said that that's why the Rebbe broke from his regular minig not to say anything. But here it was very important. The story has to be told with the name, because it's the koyach of certain tzaddikim that when you say their name is to be melamed zchus and Klal Yisrael. That's why the Rebbe broke his minig to not say anything, and the Rebbe said that Rebbe Levi Yitzchak. Some tzaddikim I have this koyach that even if the generation are not such big tzaddikim, that their sichos is making a Klal Yisrael. There are other tzaddikim, they teach Klal Yisrael, and Klal Yisrael is the matzav of tzidkis. So the shaila is, when we say that the two generations, what was in these two generations? You could look at it in two ways. The Gemara says that Chizkiyahu, Melech Yehuda, Noach, Cherev, Beis HaMedrash, he said, whoever doesn't learn Torah, you know it's B'cherev. And then when Sanchedev came, the 10 Shvatim, they were not big Talmidei Chachamim. But Shevet Yehuda, the people that were under the rule of Chizkiyahu, Botku Midon V'ad Beersheva, Megivas V'ad Antifras, V'loi Motzu, Ama Oretz, Lo Ish, V'loi Isha, V'loi Kotnu, V'loi Ktana, She'einem Bekim, B'ilchas Tumah V'taras. You know what Hilchas Tumas V'taras? I'm learning grammar already, 36 cycles. You come Hilchas Taras. Ishlet Shuma Shein L'Tumah, Shlish L'Tumah, Revi, L'Shuma Ava Tumah, Vlada Tumah, and Kalam Tumah. Your head is spinning, you're flying off the walls. Little kids, Ktana, Ktanim, they were clear. You take Hilchas Meseches Kalam, 30 Prokim, the hardest Mesech Mishnayis. If you go back in time machine, you can go to Givas or Antifras. You go to any house, knock on the door, a little girl 5 years old come out, say Mishnayis Kalim Peirik Chov Gimel. The girl say, come inside, I'll explain to you. I'll give you the pshat. Everyone knew. So what was the sichos? Chizkiyahu, or because they were tzaddikim? What is the sichos here? The Rebbe says this is the machloikas. This Rashi says Lefi tzaddikim gemurim hoyu sheyesh doire shelo tzarich lois lefi tzaddikim gemurim hoyu. Who were tzaddikim gemurim? The people were tzaddikim gemurim. We're not talking about. So therefore, the Rashi picks dafka these two doires. The Medrash, on the other hand, is talking about the tzaddikim. That's why the Medrash has a whole arichas. The Medrash about a story with Eliyahu of Yizachar Latoy. He said if there's 30 tzaddikim, if there's 10, if there's plus in the Geya, with the keshes, the fact that if there's only 2 tzaddikim, the greatest 2 tzaddikim in all time is if Shimon is son. And if there's only 1 tzaddik, if you have to point to 1 tzaddik, the greatest of all generations, it's me. That's why in the Medrash there's one opinion that says take out the generation of Anshe Knesset Gdola and put in of Shimon Beichai. Yeah, Anshe Knesset Gdola were good. There was 120 of them, and they went and they learned Torah with Klal Yisrael. They made a revolution. And there's the story of Chof Dalet Tevis, which was just yesterday, where they got all the Yidden and they divorced all their shikses, and they all did tshuva and moiridik. But that's not the point the Medrash is trying to say. The Medrash is trying to bring out that there were 2 tzaddikim, that their tzidkis was so spectacular that it didn't matter what the people were like, but they had the koyach. The same thing Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. The Gemara says the Eibusher wanted to make a Mashiach. So Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda and Shimon Beichai were 2 special tzaddikim. That's the machloikas between the Medrash and Rashi. Rashi says the doiris that didn't have a kesher is because the Anshe Hadoir were tzaddikim. According to the Medrash, because there were 2 special tzaddikim that were so special that could be Megan on the whole generation. That's why the Medrash holds it's only 2 doiris. Like the Medrash says at the end, it could be that in history there was never going to be a tzaddik as big as Shimon Beichai. That's it. There's never going to be Shimon Beichai and 1 more. That's it. So the Medrash says Taka is missing 2 vavs. That's it. 2 generations there won't be a keshes. But Rashi who says that it's not because of the tzaddikim, it's because of the Anshe Ador. So why should you say only 2 doiris? Why should you say? The Gemara says, for example, there's a Gemara. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Sheker Achein beHevel Hayofi Isha Yiras Hashem Isis Halo. So the Gemara says in Daf Chof in Sanhedrin, Sheker Achein Zedoire Shamosh Yeshua. They didn't care about Chein. They wanted to learn Torah. That's it. Hevel Hayofi, generation of Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. They didn't care about Yofi. They just wanted to learn Torah, and that's it. Isha Yiras Hashem Isis Halo. Zedoire should be Yehuda Rabbi Loi. I don't know. Never heard. Apparently, in his generation, they were just as big as tzaddikim as Moshe Rabbeinu, as Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. Never knew. Another generation. So Rashi says, why should you say Mele if you say the two greatest tzaddikim of all time, Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, they want to make a Mashiach, and if Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, I'd get. But if you're saying it's mitzad the Anshe Adoyer, so why should you say only two doiros? So to summarize, Rashi holds doiros choser. It doesn't mean two doiros. It can mean 10 doiros. He just gives an example. He gives an example of these two doiros where everyone saw that all the people at tzaddikim. But there could be more doiros. Why? Because Rashi holds that the sichos was from the Anshe Adoyer. Mashenkein, the Medrash holds that the sichos was from the two tzaddik. The Rebbe says you could learn it deeper even. There's a simple question that could be asked about the keshes that anyone should ask. It's a pashta shaila. Why did they have a mabel? Rashi says, Hishchis kol bosor, even the animals. The animals, but the teva is that all the animals stick, the zoch and the kavers are the same kind. The dog doesn't go to the cat doesn't go to the dog. The pig doesn't go to the cow doesn't go to the pig. V'chulu v'chulu. They stick to their own min. Hishchis kol basar darkoi. It was a terrible ashchosa. Terrible ashchosa. So therefore, there was a mabel. So every time I see a keshes, do I have to assume that right now the world is as bad as there was many. In the days of Enosh, they started to all do avodah zarah. They were not big tzaddikim, but they still were hundreds of years away from the mabul. Hundreds and hundreds of years away from the mabul. Even though they all did avodah zarah, but there wasn't ishchis called basar. So there was no mabul. So tell me something. If I see a keshes, should I assume that the world right now is so bad? They're as bad as the generation of the Mabul 5 minutes before the flood starts. Every time I see a rainbow. So that's a Klotz kasha, but the Rebbe asks, but no one asks this question. So the Rebbe says like this: the Medrash will answer you that no, that's not the pshat. The pshat is that it's a natural phenomenon that there is a rainbow. And the rainbow reminds the Eibishter, it reminds us that there's a special bris. It doesn't mean that right now the world is in that bad situation. It's just there to remind us. To remind us, to remind the Eibishter that there's a special bris.
Okay, it's a sign.
So to say to remind us.
Is it a sign?
It's a sign, yeah. It's a covenant.
It's a sign
that we know.
The world should see.
Yeah, but doesn't mean that the world right now is bad. But you can't say that in Rashi. You can only say that in the Medrash. So in the Medrash you could say that, and you can also say that there were two generations that the tzaddikim were so big that even if there would not be a covenant, and even if they would have been as bad as the people in the Mabul, the tzidkes of Shimon was so big, even if there was no covenant, and the people were as bad as in the time of the Mabul, still he would be able to save. Yochela niftar as kol olam kulam min adin. That's what the Medrash holds. But Rashi clearly doesn't hold that way. Rashi says, "V'nosati kashti kashti nosati b'onam v'oitza lois bris v'oitza b'anani onan al oretz v'niris hakesh." Rashi says, "Kishetala b'machshava lefoni lohavi choshech v'avodan lo'olam." That whenever the Eibush is going to have a thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to wipe out the world. That minute, the Eibush is going to shine out. He's going to make a rainbow. Now, how scientifically exactly works is a separate kasha.
What is it?
Because it's a natural phenomenon that there is a keshes.
Today we see it like from water, gospel, the change in weather, and the sun, and everything else. The question is if this is the real keshes.
That, okay. But parshiyos it is. Because we make a bracha on it. So that's a separate question. But what's clear in Rashi...
Why is it given?
Rashi says that only when when I'm going to think I'm about to destroy the world, that's when I'm going to make a keshes. So the question, according to Rashi, is so if I go out tomorrow and I see a keshes, should I think to myself that things in this world are so bad, like as bad as the Doira Mabul? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not bad, but Rashi says
Maybe it's a wake-up call.
it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
We're 5 minutes. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Almost as bad.
Yeah.
Maybe just don't get there.
He's telling me to do something.
In some places in the
Not-
world there is always keshet. Like you go to Niagara Falls.
Right, always a keshes, right.
What you're gonna say over there is that's don't work.
So the answer is, the Rebbe says the answer is like this. There's a special, this thing, the punishment of the Mabul was unique. It was never afterwards going to be such a thing. The Eibusha says, Vayinochim. The Eibusha says he had charota on the whole creation. The Eibusha said, Kinichamtim kiyasisim.
He's falling back, just the opposite.
That's it. He doesn't want the world anymore.
No, like you're saying that he put the keshes to remind him that he regretted
Right,
destroying
he's
the world.
destroying the world.
Not that he wanted to destroy the world.
But originally,
that he
in
wanted.
other words, the keshes is going to make there should be never a mabul. What's a mabul? There's an Indian of stoim. They punish in a nidachas.
He did it. He did story.
They punished because they sinned. Here, there was a different thing. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Afal Noach nechtach gizadin el shemotzachem b'nei Hashem. The Forshim says Noach. I thought you said Eila told us Noach. Noach is tzaddik. What do you mean even on Noach? And the Rebbe says the pshat is very simple. Do you think every single human being in the days of the Mabul, everyone sinned? How about the children? Children didn't sin. They're not bnei onshin. How could that? The answer is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Noach didn't sin too. However, the Eibishter had charota for creating the world. So at the point when the Eibishter has charota for creating the world, you can't ask why a Noach should be nechtam gazardin. The only reason the Eibishter saved them because Motzachem ein Hashem. The Eibishter wanted to rebuild the world through him. Otherwise, the Eibishter regret that he made the world. The Kesha says that there's never going to be such a situation. Even if, not only the whole world. Kol basar doesn't mean I'm never going to destroy the whole world. I'm never going to destroy even one part of the world. When we say lo yitoy tasa kol malacha, it doesn't mean you're not allowed to do all 39 malachas on Shabbos. If you want to do 38 malachas, not bad. 39 malachas is not allowed to do on Shabbos. 38 malachas, no. Lo yitoy kol malacha means you're not allowed to do any malacha. So when the Eibusha says lo yikoras kol basar, it means I'm never going to do a mabul even on one city, even on a half a city, even on one human being. If he has to be punished, punish him. But there's never going to be such a thing that the Eibishter is Vayinochem Hashem, Kinechamtim Kiasisim. That it's just Mochisias Kol HaYikum. That's never going to happen.
It's a mabul, like that type of mabul.
That type of mabul, it's like the Gemara says that certain generations that have Tchias HaMesim, certain not have Tchias HaMesim. So the Gemara says in the beginning of Sanhedrin, in the last Pedic, that they're never going to be judged. Why are they never going to be judged, l'chayra? Because the Eibishter just regretted. That was like delete. The Eibishter pressed delete. You typed up a whole thing and then you realize above a mice. You press delete. Again, the whole thing is, forget about it. Too many mistakes in this article. Delete. They start all over again. That delete button was taken out of the system. Now, if a person sins, the Eibishter punishes them, but there's no delete. There's no mabul, not the pshat on the whole globe. There isn't ever going to be a mabul even on one house. So if you see a keshes, it doesn't mean that the whole world right now sinned in a way that the whole world would have had a mabul. Could be one person sinned. There could be one person. That person, if he lived in the Doira Mabul, there's now one person in the world that sinned as bad as the people of Doira Mabul. And the Eibishter is saying that right now, if without the Ois Bris, I would have killed them. How would I kill them? Delete. Not that I would punish him and judge him. Delete. But now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to punish him. I'm going to cleanse him of his sins, but I'm not going to press the delete button. That I'm not going to do. So therefore, The bottom line is that the keshes doesn't mean that right now the whole world, hishchis kol basar, that the whole globe, it could be one person really deserves right now to be like one of the people of the Doira Mabul, but the Eibush says, I made a bris that I'm never going to do the Mabul again. I might punish him like Anshis Doim, but I'm not going to do what I did in the Mabul, which is Nechamtim Ki Asisim. That's why it's Shayach, there should be a Keshes. True, the child comes out of his cheder and worms, and Taki, he's learning Chumash Rashi, and the whole cheder is learning, and the Rivon, and the Rashbam, and the Rabbeinu Tam, and there's a half a city that are learning it. But maybe there's one man. You don't know. There might be one person that is as bad as the Anshe Doir Amabel. Could be one man. And David shows the Keshes to say that even though there's one man that deserves to be like the Doir Amabel, but I made a Keshes. So Rashi says, however, there's two generations, there isn't even one man, there isn't even one child, one woman on the face of this globe who is from Bnei Yisrael, which is what counts, that are Shayach in that Geder. Because they're all Anshe Adoir, every single Yid was Kulei Zakai. Every single Yid was Kulei Zakai. That's why Rashi holds, this is the Yisoi, that's why Rashi holds that the Doiris Choser is not to say that there's two generations where there'll be two special tzaddikim that there's chusas meigen akol Yisrael. There are generations where they kulam tzaddikim. Every yid is a tzaddik. There's not even shaykh to say that there's one person that is so bad that he could be in the category of the Doir HaMabel. It's not shaykh. And Rashi gives an example, Kemoi Doire Shel Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, Ukemoi Doire Shel Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. So let's summarize. Machloek is a Medrash and Rashi. It says Doiris Choser. According to the Rashi, Doiris means general Choser, and doesn't mean two generations. Like I mean 10 generations. The fact that we bring Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is just an example. Dugma Nokat. And the sichos is not the tzaddik. The sichos is the people of generation. In other words, that the shayach, that there should be a mabul, not on the whole world, but on one person. The Eibush says, I'm never going to, even though the person deserves to be like the people of Doir Mabul, I'm never going to judge a person like I did in the Anshe Doir Mabul. That I'm going to say, Nichamtim ki asisim, press delete. Forget about it. I'm not interested. I'm going to do it all over again. I'll punish him, cleanse him for a sin, but I'm not going to do that. So Keshes could mean that there's one person in the world that's that way. Two persons, one city, two cities, a country. That's why you see a Keshes. But Rashi says, but there are some generations that every single Yid is a tzaddik, like Doirish Chizkiyahu, that Botku Medom Vad Beersheva, Megivas Vad Antifras, V'lo Motza Lo Yish V'lo Yish Lo Tinig V'Tinoikes, Sheina Mekim B'Ilchas Tumah V'Tara. So therefore it's not shaykh, there should be a Keshes. That's Rashi's opinion. The Medrash's opinion is Doiris Choser, because there's two Vavs. To tell you there's two special generations. The Keshes is not because right now they're sinners. The Keshes is a general natural phenomenon that reminds us that there's special covenant. However, there's two generations, they don't need the covenant. Ilulei, there was no covenant. Ilulei, everyone was Rishayim like the Doir Mabul, there'd still not be a Mabul. Because Reb Shimon Bar Yochai lives in that generation, doesn't mean that they are all tzaddikim. That's not chidush, my kamashmulah. That's not what he's saying. Yochel nifter kol olam and means even though they deserve to have din, but I could save them in a din. And that's the shit of the Medrash. What's Hein L'Rashi and Hein L'Medrash? We have to pick these two. What's so unique about Chizkiyahu is
not a question about
so Api Toiris Asoid, there's something unique that the Alter says in the Maimer that the rain was 40 days because the Eibishter dunked the world in one big mikveh. It's called Mei Noach. That there was the Eibishter was matar the world. It was called Mei Noach. Mei Noach is why was he zoichet that his name he got a plaque? The Mabul is a bad thing, not a good thing. No, the Alter says the Mabul was a good thing. It was like a big mikveh. It was matar the whole world. So therefore we say that we don't need a Mabel ever again, because the world already was Natar. However, when Mashiach is going to come, it is going to be an Olam Chodesh. And we say that there's two big tzaddikim which have a special shaykhus with the union of Olam Chodesh, being Natar the world, which is Chizkiyahu Malach Yehuda, which for him the Gemara says, Bikesh Ma'ak is Chizkiyahu Malach Yehuda Mashiach, is in Cheder Gog and Magog. And the second big tzaddik is Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, which wrote the Sefer HaZohar, which they told him that B'chai Chibura Deloch, Yifoken Be'min Galusa Berachmin, that when the Yidden will learn the Zohar HaKodesh, P'nimis HaTorah, they'll go out of Golus. He says that these two tzaddikim, they have a special shaykhus in Mashiach, which has an effect in the world similar to, just like the Mabel, which the Boshab shot of the Mabel is to kill them, the delete button. It's the worst of all oinshin. But the Pnimius HaTorah tells us that it's not an oinish altogether. It was just a tahara for the world. So these two special tzaddikim, they don't need the Mabel B'chlal, because they already have that B'hai Chibura Deloch is matar the world, like a Moededik mikveh, and Mezela, with Zoicha with this, to have an Olam Chodesh, Rabbi Mashiach Tzedkein.